Right, so before getting into anything, I want to speak a little bit about what this challenge actually is, because how many people play Batman Arkham Asylum by now. The way I'm wanting to go around this is playing Batman Arkham Asylum on hard, but not upgrading any health, like any upgrades at all, so that means I can't use the inverted takedown, or the combat takedown, or get critical strikes, which... It's just, I'm mainly concerned, or what my main concern was, even, was going into, like, where Ivy takes over the island and just got plants everywhere, because with little health, that's going to absolutely destroy, and, I mean, I think I got around it okay post-playing the game, but it wasn't an easy task, and the big combat encounters with the Titans and, or like a dual Titan fight, but... I managed to find them okay, but you'll see throughout the course of the video that's mainly the biggest trouble I had later on in the game. But this is the first video on the channel, so if you could like, subscribe and turn the notification bell on and drop a comment on things you think that could be changed or made better. Like I said, it's the first one I've made yet, but all talking aside, that's pretty much it. That's all I really wanted to say, but yeah, I'll just get straight on to the video. After loading in the game, starting a new game, save file, putting it on hard and fiddling around with the settings a little bit, I got put straight into the intro cutscene with the Batmobile on full display here. And Joker just sat casually tweaking out in the back seat. But after arriving to the asylum with a sexy hunk of a man, Batman actually is, we're met with the longest walking intro to a game ever. It does have its moments though.
Just sneak in with your bats? Come on, tell me. Batarangs, bat claws, bat smacks. Need to take my temperature? I'd be happy to drop my pants.
But this is also the intro that introduces us to Crock, which he just looks so cool.
I've got your scent, Batman. I will hunt you down.
But that doesn't stop the Joker from escaping anyway, as he always does, strangling a guard with handcuffs, taunting the doctor before kicking him straight in the solar plex and then taunting the officer again. But don't stress, Batman's going to jump through the window a second too late, and the Joker's about to reveal that this was his plan the absolute entire time, and that's why he wanted to be brought to the asylum in the first place. Straight after Joker's escape scene, we're chucked into a combat situation where Joker throws a couple rounds of thugs out just as an intro to the combat, which is some of the best in history. But right after that, we're forced to follow the Joker through the asylum, where we'll have a really interesting interaction with Victor Zsasz.
Stop! Zsasz has got my buddy. He's gonna fry him. Do something, please.
And do something we do swiftly, in vengeance fashion. And straight after that, we're rudely interrupted again off Harley Quinn.
Can you hear me? Is this thing on? Oh, hiya, B-Man. Harley Quinn here. How do you like my new uniform? Pretty hot, huh?
And through this, we learn she's got the warden held hostage, and Barbara interrupting again, and in true vengeance style, we start to rip vents off the wall and crawl through them. After making our way into the gas chambered room and saving everybody in the room, including the two officers and the suspicious looking inmate, which just gets knocked clean the fuck out. Definitely wasn't racially motivated, just saying. But we'll continue to clear the room, making our way through to find the Joker, and then end up bumping into his big Titan.
Do you have any idea how fast I am? I'm fast as fuck, boy!
Which that wasn't too bad. You can just avoid him if you really want to, but I just want to fight him. But it's not going to change anything because the Joker continues to escape our grasp yet again. And we'll go back on ourselves to where he first broke out, looking for clues, and find Gordon's drinking problem lying on the floor, and scan it for clues and pick up his paper trail. And following that all the way back through the asylum, we end up in a very weird interaction with Harley Quinn, where she doesn't want us to follow her just yet. So her solve to that is just to drop an elevator clean on our heads with no regard. Obviously that's not going to work, so we'll just climb our way up, and then we're met with a couple of rounds of thugs which we'll take out swiftly. And then we'll continue on to the first stealth intro of the game, which these guys I just chose to skip. There was no need to fight them for time's sake. But for some reason, this little weirdo up here, you can't avoid him. If you try and open that grate, he'll just turn around and dome you, and obviously with no health and on hard, I'm not doing that. So we just proceed to take him down, and the Joker talking away in the background to proceed through to the actual first stealth part of the game, which, bear in mind, is the best in history. Same as the combat, it's just phenomenal all around the board. I mean, it's better in the later games, but we'll just make our way through this room, taking them out as we go, whack his head off a ledge and pull his friend around the corner and tickle him to death. But the Joker proceeds to send a few more thugs, and we'll just do the same with them and take them out. Then proceeding on, we'll find a deceased Officer Bowles as the Joker finds out how we were tracking him, and have a short introduction to the Riddler. Solve his riddle really quickly, which is right next to where he talks to you. Speak to the officer, who pops his head out the locked room, and proceed to make our way through to the island where the game truly actually opens up. I just left this clip in because I wanted to show what the combat actually looked like during the challenge, because it was quite hard, especially with no guard counters for being on hard, and then having such low health. And since I can't do ground takedowns to get critical strikes, I need to purely rely on countering, which, like I said, there's no guard counters, and striking and ground takedowns. It's easier later on in the game after I get like the back claw, the upgraded back claw, and I can pull fuckers over railings or onto the floor and just jump on the head and punch it. But apart from that, that's literally all that the combat entails, which is why it's normally edited throughout the challenge. Like, if I die, I'll put it in there, I'll have a death counter up. I didn't die a whole lot at the beginning of the game, but later on, like towards Ivy's fight, you'll see I just get taken hard style off everything. But regardless, after we've protected the car, kicking that fucker in his face, we'll then go and get the explosive gel from the car. Straight after that, we've got to track down Gordon again, and we'll find his pipe lying down on the floor, which he's left as a clue for us to follow. After picking up his paper trail and bashing through thugs, we'll make it through the medical building, where Harley's just there with Gordon tied up in the corner, kinky style, telling us we can't get in, so we'll find another way in, of course. And then we'll make our way into the sanatorium, which resulted in my first death, being an absolute fucking idiot. You'll see here, I don't know why I thought that I could get them both at the same time. I'm just him, I guess, but seriously, I don't know what I was thinking here, because as soon as I go to grapple away, 1, 2, and this brings the death toll up to 1. But on the second try, we didn't make the same mistake twice. Took both of them out straight away, and then proceeded to clear our way through the room, taking them out one at a time. But the next thug in particular just needed a swift kick to the forehead. Or elbow, sorry. But then regardless, we save all 3 of the doctors, which I thought was going to be a lot worse than what it was. Especially the next one that's just came up there, that I thought was going to be a lot worse. But this guy, I just decided to send to his death. And then after saving all 3 of them, we'll make our way back through to the sanatorium, not before taking out a new enemy type, which is going to prove to be a pain in me arse later on. But we'll take out the room, which is now being filled full of armed thugs again, which isn't too bad apart from this. I don't know what happened here. If anyone can tell us, that'd be great. So I went into full-on panic mode, but regardless, we still were able to take them both out without being seen, and make our way through to the elevator, which takes us straight into a dance cutscene with this dude doing a jiggy and the smackhead jumping at the window. But this is our first intro to Dr. Crane, aka Scarecrow, and his little tiny I never work out legs. This then leads into the first Scarecrow fight, but on the way there we'll get to see our dead parents one more time, and then get dragged into the Hunter's Dream from Bloodborne, where we've got to be a parkour master and make our way through the level, then blind him with a bat signal, and then escape. After breaking out of Scarecrow's fear toxin, we'll then continue on trying to find Gordon and find him locked away in a room with Harley Quinn, which we need to then silently take out the room to work our way to her, jump through a glass window and boot her in the head and save Gordon, and then find Bane tied up, getting the venom sucked from his veins in a greenhouse, where the Joker sees us and then decides to pump him full of it again, so he breaks loose. And this then leads into the first fight, where I didn't have too much trouble, but it was a pretty fun fight. So that's one fight down with 5 more to go. So we'll start making our way through to the back cave to grab the back claw, taking out thugs as we go along the way. After we get to the back cave and retrieve the back claw, this game's going to get a lot easier. After retrieving the back claw from the back cave, we have to make our way to the Arkham mansion and grab Dr. Young's research before the Joker can. After learning that the mansion's filled full of Joker's thugs, we'll take them all out in the main hall, barely scraping through by the skin of our teeth, and make our way through into the next room where they're all sat trying to find the research by themselves, so we take them out and rescue the hostages and move on. After finding a guard sat at gunpoint, we'll give this thug the fucking scare of his life.
Building locked down.
You really think so?
Oh yeah? Wanna think again? Look behind you.
Do I look stupid? Do you think I'm just gonna turn around so one of you lame asses could jump me? Ah, like that'll happen.
We then proceed to learn that they're also wearing suicide collars now, so anytime the heartbeat drops below a certain point, that goes off, which will prove hard for predator encounters, which we'll go into straight after this. But now we have the back claw and the explosive gel, so makes this a lot easier. After clearing the room of all the armed thugs and speaking to Cash, we'll make our way through to Dr. Young's office where she's nowhere to be found. So we continue on foot, following our fingerprints, which eventually leads us back to the room where the thugs were, right next to our research, which they nearly found, but we take it instead and then make our way out the mansion. Also a thought, but this takes us into our second Scarecrow encounter where we'll walk down a long hallway, see our dead parents again and take ourselves into it. However, I did die, which just then brings the death toll up to 2, but with not too much more trouble. We'll then continue on and try again, taking out the skeletons and parkouring our way through, level and blinding them. After escaping, we'll then cut down a bell which just falls down and causes way too much destruction, and make our way through to find Dr. Young being held up by Zaz, which will then quickly take care of him with a bit of metal to his face, Big Bong style, for the her to die in the first place by opening up a trapped safe, exploding, and then Harley Quinn coming in with the warden again, and after taking out her guide and scanning for clues, we'll follow the paper trail to find Harley and the warden. But this leads us to the penitentiary where all the smackheads from earlier reconvene for the weekly AA meeting, and we'll find Ivy in a plant box jail cell thing and make our way to the warden where, after saving them, Harley then releases Ivy from our plant box prison thing.
That feels so much better.
And then the Joker just proceeds to tell all of these local smackheads when they're all in one place that we've got a spare cigarette and they're wanting one.
Oi! You got a fucking ciggy, cunt?
But after freeing the warden and then stealing his key card for our, I can't even remember what it's called now, but the sequencer to break all the terminals, which we used to then escape the room, obviously, that we got trapped in, and then have a run-in with a local smackhead and break his leg, pound his face, and then continue on to find Harley, who does some pure sick shit parkour up here, and then proceeds to fry the guard by turning on the electric floor. No need. So we then work our way up and proceed to beat on them relentlessly. Again, doing sick shit parkour escapes us, and then we break the terminal to turn off the electric floor and the way through the Chi went. Running into the local smackheads again, throwing them around, smashing heads off floor. We'll run into a room where Harley's got the 2 officers dangling over pools of electrified water, which we need to turn the terminals off and cut them down, then turn the terminal off to leave the room and then escape. After chasing Harley down, it leads us into her fight, which gave us a little bit of trouble, but it wasn't too bad. I'm just going to let the clip play and speak for itself.
I'll leave it to you then, my dear.
Get him!
So now she's out of the way. That's another 2 fights down with 4 to go. Which, now we're in the end game, we'll leave the penitentiary not before saying bye to the local smackheads after all the lovely memories that we've shared, but we'll leave the penitentiary. After leaving, away with them, find out that all the smackheads have taken over the island, and as you can see in this clip here, when they get a hold of us, they do some fucking damage and hurt. So I won't fuck around, I just take them out as soon as I see them. Which you can see here, they're literally everywhere. They're running from left to right, so I decided to take on a good few of them just to get them off me back, and you can see how easy they go down, but if they get a hold of you, it absolutely wrecks. But we'll make our way through to the gardens regardless, and through to the entrance to where there's 2 armed guards, which we take out in one go as Marv style from Home Alone. But after breaking the terminal, leads us into a stealth predator encounter, which didn't really go too well. Just took 1 movement and he's seen. Some bullshit right there. But this then brings the death toll up to 3. We don't have that trouble twice though, pulling them over rails. This is why I love the grappling hook so much, because it's amazing for this type of stuff. And when I can't do inverted takedowns and have them all in one place, that's the biggest lifesaver. You wouldn't believe it. Use it if you're going to do this type of challenge. But after making our way through, we have this interesting encounter with the Joker.
You need to stop this now, before it goes too far.
Stop. But everyone's dying to see what I do next.
Let him go now.
Really? Okay, if you say so, then. Whoopsie! No! You really need to speed things up, Bats.
Yeah, so no need for that. But then we'll make our way into the generator room to turn the pool of electrified water off so it can actually go across to where the Joker's just left. But as you can see, again, being fucking stupid, brings the death toll to 4, not before doing it again, and then bringing it up to 5. You're really going to see the deaths ramp up here, but then we encounter a new type of terminal that we're going to need to tackle quite a few times, especially in the garden. So instead of doing it once, you're on a time crunch to do it 3 times, which if not, it then squirts shit in your face and you have to restart. But after turning it off, so we can actually go back through, make our way to towards where the Joker went, we'll make our way over, breaking vents off of walls, and then end up in a stealth encounter where this one, if you get seen, they drop them cages with 2 hostages in, which is not a good thing. And being the fucking idiots we are, crouching around a corner, obviously after being seen, going straight into panic mode, leads to the 6th death, making the death count to 6. As I said, they're going to go up massively, but we'll just continue making our way through and take out the guy at the top first, so then we can continue our way down and no hostages will die. Which this was fine. And then after rescuing the hostages, we'll find a panel that's able to be taken off in a terminal straight behind it, which then opens up a secret room to a lab in the gardens where we've been following Harley do. This is where we'll bump into the Joker and he has a bit of a laugh and turns these 2 henchmen into big titans, which this is the dual titan fight I was talking about at the start of the video, which I was concerned about. But to be honest, I didn't really take a lot of damage and it's not a very interesting fight. It's just a little bit of that and then a bit of that, a bit of that, and that's it. So I'm just going to skip to the end of the fight because it's just so repetitive seeing the same thing over and over. But after kicking his head in Andy's friends, we open the gate, totally forgetting that we need to take out the Titan and then send our little personal plane through a greenhouse roof and taking the line launcher, which then we have to use to escape back the way we came, make our way through the Ivy, which she basically lets us know that there's a plan under the asylum that we can take to prevent the plans going out of control. So we'll be coming back and seeing her very soon, pulling some henchmen to the death, which they definitely die. I know you can hear like a splash, but they're dead. So I then kick move me way over and proceed to take the rest of them out. So after leaving, we then bump into all of Ivy's plants, which is now taken over. So we've now got the lunatics and the plants alongside everything else, but we'll make our way back to intensive treatment, making our way down into the sewers back to the room with the first predator encounter. It wasn't too bad because they've bombed the gargoyles way, so if you get on them they'll explode, but like I'd said, don't need to get on them, just need me back claw, pulling people over railings and taking the whole room out that way, and then proceeding to make our way down to where we all got shit scared at like 10 years of age, into the third Scarecrow level, which is the final one also. So after making our way through the beginning of the game in a different perspective in the madhouse instead of the asylum, getting shot in the face and waking up in the hunter's dream for a final time, we're making our way through, seeing Smackhead Batman eating a rat. We'll just continue to do the level as normal, taking out the skeletons, working our way through, being a parkour legend, going on YouTube, doing sick cunt backflips and grappling away, to get to the end where he fills us with even more as we're about to break out, and we've just got to defeat 3 waves of enemies, which will then at the end of each wave blind him like that, which we need to do his left hand, then his right hand, and then it's a big skeleton titan and normal enemies. After killing them all, it gets him in the middle and he then proceeds to run away after we get out of here, not before doing a typical thing and blind him straight in his stomach again, making sure there's no sign of life in there. But after escaping and being a bit twitchy, we see Crane escaping down into the sewers through an elevator, which is the only working one since Harley dropped the other one trying to get us on the fucking forehead. So we'll make our way down after seeing him escape, work our way into the room where the wire leads to open it up, defeat the thugs, destroy the terminal, and then follow them down, which is leading us into another group of thugs, which we take out swiftly with not too much problems, and then get this cutscene.
Too late, Batman. One step closer, and this goes into the water. The cave will fill with your deepest, darkest nightmares, and you will never reach your precious venom roots.
Don't do it, Crane.
So after Crock got a nice feed, that's 3 fights down and just 3 to go, which we're literally about to go into another one because this leads us straight into Crock's fight. Where, to be fair, we do a bit of sneaking around, throw a batarang, miss, take the death counter straight up to 7, sneak around a bit more, take some samples, throw some more batarangs, take some more samples, just like we're cutting down there. And it's just very repetitive like that over and over again, which is why I haven't made an edit like I did for the previous fights. But here we're locating our way back, which this brought a few more deaths our way. We're just the first 2, so there's 1. There's 2, stupid shit, jumping too early, which is then just going to take the death count straight up to 9. But after a while of sneaking out and running away from Crock, as we have to, as we get closer towards the end, we'll wait for him to get close, stand there as bait, and he's wanting the munch. You can see him, look at him, and then he's gone. Down to the pit where dickheads live, and straight away that's now 4 fights done with 2 to go, which are going to be back to back pretty much right after we'll go to the back cave. So after making it back to the back cave, creating a cure for the Titan strain, plants breaking in, grabbing the upgraded back claw, and then pulling down a big ass motherfucking wall to escape, we'll go into the end game. Right, first of all, I need to apologise. Sitting up my chair for this. As between fighting Crock and getting to the sewers from the back cave, that footage, I didn't realise at the time, my laptop ran out of space and I had to grab my hard drive, but I had to take it back from here. All that's happened though is you go back through the sewers where you were earlier in the game and you had to scale through and there was Titan paw, and through you scale back through there and pull off a wall to get here into the sewer control which there leads straight to another death, which brings the death total to 10, which is now going to make us go back. I'm going to take a second, then we'll go back through this area properly. Oops, I fibbed. We'll go back into the stealth encounter, being the fucking idiots we are. Sneak up behind him as the other guy turns around, takes another fat load of lead to the fucking face, bringing the death counter up to 11. But then we'll go back through, finally taking out the room, which, say, it's not too bad if you're not being a total spaztoid, but regardless, we'll take everyone out, destroy the terminal, move on to the next room, which is the combat and counterpart, which we didn't find too much trouble with, but we'll do the same in there, take it out, destroy the terminal, and move back to the main access point in the middle where all the elevators are, which is about to become hell on earth, and we'll barely scrape through. I don't know how we do it, but we did it. And here I use the Black Claw, an absolute load, like from here to the end of the game. So you'll see here I was pulling them towards them and then getting them to hit them or punch them into the doors, which I'm not going to show the whole of this fight either, just because it's the same as everything else. We do come out with next to no health, but I didn't die, so I don't think it's worth keeping the full fight in. So after barely scraping it through that encounter, we'll make our way back to the gardens to confront Ivy, which this fight was no joke. You can see going there I was nearly dead in the first place, but after taking out the guards, we'll make our way through into the room. So after fighting Ivy, that only leaves the Joker. And this is now the end of the game. We've made it. That Ivy fight I told you was no fucking joke. We now just need to make our way to the party the Joker's throwing us and proceed to die right here. Just trying to fight them instead of going in, which was no need to. But we'll finally make our way through and get blown up. And then get chucked into a dual Titan fight from the Joker. Which, again, I'm not going to leave the whole thing in. I died quite a lot here, so I'm going to add the deaths in now. But apart from that, I'm just going to skip to the end of the fight. And then get right on to the good bit, which is the end Joker fight, which is amazing. So, that's that. I will say, towards the end of the game, it was challenging, but to do this in under 20 deaths, I've got to give myself that. I am going to immediately start working on an Arkham City video, especially with all the hype around the Arkham games at the moment. I want to do a challenge at a game I'm great at, and when it's starting to come back in circulation because a big streamer's playing it. However, I'll give this challenge like an 8 out of 10. For a newcomer, it would be a 10 out of 10 without a doubt. I can tell you that now. With no guard counters, unlike the rest of the game, so much more harder. But this channel is going to be run by 2 people. There's going to be me and there's going to be my friend who's still getting all his equipment together. So for right now, he's stuck with me. I'm the one with a stutter. He's the one who doesn't have one. You'll notice. You've noticed by far if you've made it this far. You've laughed. You've giggled. Or you've made some comment, who's this stuttery twat. You've done something, right? And I'm watching you. But I hope you enjoyed the video. And since it's the first one on the channel, it's took a long time to do. I'm not used to the software yet. So I hope it's good for everybody. But yeah, see you later.